Welcome back to another Senior Learning Institute's educational moment, where older adults and their loved ones turn for honest and straightforward information. In just a few minutes, you'll enjoy bite-sized, easily digestible nuggets of knowledge, empowering you to make the right decision the first time. So without further ado, here's our founder, certified senior advisor, seniors real estate specialist, nationally syndicated podcaster and speaker, the advocate you can trust, Mr. Ted Gottlieb.
You've either listened to every other podcast available to mankind, or you have a good reason to seek information on this difficult topic. No matter why, thank you for spending the next 15 minutes or so learning more about hospice. Most of us are not comfortable with the subject of death and dying. Could be that a podcast is the perfect platform to introduce you to what hospice is and is not. You will be the judge. To guide us down the path is Sarah Bilbrey, the Community Liaison for Hope Hospice, servicing Greater St. Louis, Missouri. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today.
Thank you, Ted, and thank you guys for listening.
Sarah, please start off by defining what hospice is.
Hospice is a special level of care that supports both patients and families when an advanced illness can no longer be cured. It's for folks that want to spend their remaining days in the comfort of their own home, opposed to a hospital setting.
Okay, so there's this thought out there that when someone says I'm going to hospice, or someone's going to hospice or is in hospice, hospice is not a place, it's a service.
Correct. Hospice can be provided wherever someone calls home. So in their individual residence, independent living building, assisted living community, as well as a skilled nursing facility.
So there's that impression, and I've heard people have graduated from hospice. You don't have to be dying to receive hospice care, correct?
No, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't necessarily say when someone's final day will be. So we do have specific guidelines in order to enroll into the hospice program. With that being said, Medicare likes to state that an individual must have a prognosis of 6 months or less in order to enter into the hospice program. But certainly, we're not always right. Some diagnoses are very hard to project that trajectory. And people graduate from hospice, quite often. So again, maybe their health improves, and that's actually not too uncommon. Now, graduating from hospice may not be the normal. However, it is shown that individuals generally perk up when hospice is involved. But it makes total sense. If their symptoms are well managed, their pain is well managed, they're more likely to thrive.
Okay, so you mentioned 6 months to live is typically the benchmark. Who makes that decision, that call?
Need to be 2 physicians that certify that this individual is fits into those guidelines, essentially.
Right. And is it common that most folks at that point that they're going into hospice will have at least 2 physicians, a primary and somebody else?
So let me set that straight. The individual's primary care physician would need to certify that that patient has a 6-month prognosis. The second physician would be our medical director. So we have a physician on staff as well that would also approve that assessment and approve that they fit into that criteria.
So does that physician actually come and visit with the individual?
Generally speaking, no. I'll be real honest. Most of our patients no longer go out to see the physician once they enter into the hospice program, simply because, they are certainly more weak. It becomes more difficult for them to get out of the house. And essentially, we are the physician's eyes and ears. My nursing team that's out there on a regular basis would constantly be in communication with the physician. Some physicians do still want to see their patients, but what I like to say to my patients and families, if you're having a good day and you want to get out of the house, don't spend your time in the doctor's office. Go to the zoo, go to the botanical garden, go to your favorite restaurant. Enjoy the little things, find joy in the little things, not spend your time getting poked and, prodded for no reason, when we know that the diagnosis that there isn't anything else that can be done to extend one's life.
So tell us about the scope of services that are provided in the team that provides them.
So we are a one-stop shop. We have a physician, like I said. He can always be used as backup. Suppose that the primary care physician isn't as responsive as we'd like them to be, because there is always a sense of urgency in everything that hospice does. Um, so the physician is always there to guide, support not only our patients, but our staff as well, to make sure that their plan of care is appropriate for their needs. We have nurses that generally come out twice a week to make routine assessments. They're always identifying a need, looking for ways to enhance quality of life. And that means different things to different folks, right? Sometimes it's about controlling the pain. So certainly we make sure that they have the right medications for not only pain, but for symptom management as well. We make sure that they have the appropriate equipment in place, the appropriate tools for the family as well. We supply any equipment needs. So if they were to need a wheelchair, a bedside commode, a hospital bed, a specialty mattress, again, anything to make them more comfortable. But the nurse twice a week, and then as needed. We have nurses on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our team, our nurses are specifically on call just to make sure that, the care is available when it's needed. I tell families if they're concerned, we're concerned as well. I think oftentimes people have, again, there's this stigma with hospice that you're not going to get the care that you need. You can no longer go to the emergency room or dial 911. And I think that puts a little fear in people, right? It's not that they're against this level of care. It's that they've, throughout their life have called 911 in any emergent situation. When hospice is involved, we are now your emergency support. So as I say, if you're concerned, we're concerned. We're available around the clock to help you. We want to avoid unnecessary hospitalizations and, again, keep people at home. So 2 times a week. Now, again, when people have a decline, we certainly can increase those visits as well. It's very much a personalized plan of care. So just because this is appropriate for one individual doesn't mean it's for the next. We have a lot of folks on our under our care that, maybe they're quite independent. Maybe they have a cancer diagnosis, but they're still able to shower themselves. They're still able to, to drive to the grocery store, but they simply want us for that medical knowledge. Maybe they don't want those extra visits. They're not looking for companionship. They're not looking for anything extra because that would be burdensome to them. And that's okay too. But generally speaking, twice a week, the nurse. We have home health aides that can help provide personal care, bathing, dressing, grooming, shaving, feeding, things of that nature. I would say on average, we go out 3 days a week. But again, that's very much dependent on that personal need or that personal wish. Oftentimes when they're nearing end of life, they no longer require, a shower once a day. Like I said, that would be burdensome. That would be, very exhausting to them. But if that's their preference, we certainly can do that as well. Our goal is to not only provide comfort physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, but to take a great load off of the caregiver's plate. Oftentimes it's the elderly caring for the elderly, the sick caring for the sick. People need support. They need someone to tell them they're doing a good job. They need someone that's going to give them the proper tools for when we're not there, they can still receive the very best care. We provide a social worker. We provide a chaplain. Our chaplains are non-denominational. I certainly encourage everyone to take full advantage of everything that we have to offer. I think each component is there for a particular benefit. I can't speak for all hospices, but I will tell you that we have massage therapy and we have music therapy, which can be very healing. I'm 33 years old. I don't have an ache or pain in my body, but I could be rubbed daily, but it's also a way to help with bowels, help reduce pain, simply take an individual's mind off of the craziness that's going on in their world. We have a group of volunteers that can help with, day-to-day activities, companionship, giving respite support to the family. Because hospice, of course, isn't there around the clock. We come in again, with these visits, but we don't necessarily supplement home care.
Right, and that's really important. That's a point that I was hoping that you would drive home, is that hospice is there. As you mentioned, you've got nurses that might go there 2 days a week, but other than that, you're either self-caring or you have a family member or friend that's caring. someone's coming in, otherwise you're not getting maybe some of the attention that you need. So the question was, do we need to supplement the care when we're having hospice? And you've answered the question, yes, you probably do at a certain point bring in care, whether it be, through a hospice company that offers companion custodial care, or if that hospice company doesn't offer those services, then hire somebody to provide those services. And quite honestly, I've seen it in times where, that companion care and that home care company is there a lot. Could be 8
Right.
hours a day, could be less, could be more, but they're there providing the help, especially when we are ending or we're going towards the end of life.
And here's something also, Ted. So while in many situations, I feel that 24-hour care, for instance, would be helpful, from my eyes, we also have to think that, we all live very different lives, and what's important to us may not be important to someone else. I will say this, with the help of hospice too, know that your hospice team will support you, in making these decisions, because I think oftentimes I speak with families, and again, there's a concern with, will they have enough financing to pay for these extra services? And we help gauge of what's appropriate and what's not, right? We're completely transparent. We're there to support this patient, whether it's in our best interest or not. It's truly about what's best for the patient. And again, supporting those families and making those difficult decisions. It's not easy letting someone in your house for, intermittent visits, but let alone 24 hours a day. We help them gauge what is appropriate, what we feel is best. Ultimately, they would have to make that decision. But yes, we help steer them in the right direction to obtain the appropriate care.
We all want to know, Sarah, who actually pays for hospice?
So our hospice is paid for entirely by Medicare, 100% without any copays. Medicaid is also an appropriate payer source, as well as the VA, and most HMOs as well.
Great. Now, is there a time limit on the amount of care that's provided?
No, like I said, Medicare states that one must have a prognosis of 6 months or less to live, but there isn't a cap. We continually reassess these patients and make sure they fit into those guidelines. Again, there are times that people no longer are appropriate and will graduate from hospice, but as long as there continues to be a decline, they can stay on hospice for as long as that may be. My experience, I believe we've had someone on for maybe close to 4 years. I've heard stories about people that have been on much longer than that with other hospice providers.
Wow. You had mentioned earlier that in addition to helping the patient, the hospice team is also there for the family. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Like I said, we don't take over care. We help manage it, along with the family, with the physician. It's essential that we create a great relationship with them, build trust with them, so that we can help them navigate what's best for the patient's care. Like I said, the social worker can help with psychological issues, help with placement in a nursing facility, or obtaining additional care in home. Look at additional resources, maybe through the VA. We can help with funeral arrangements. We can help with just grappling the emotional intensity of your loved one dying. We can be there to provide bereavement support. We can provide anticipatory support as well. Oftentimes, we're caring for someone with dementia. These people have already felt an incredible loss, prior to our arrival. So it's just helping them through the emotional details, and, having a friend to call upon, a listening ear. We all want to be heard. We all want to be heard. And I think so often these individuals that we're caring for, they've lost so much control, of everything that's going on in their life. So to give them the ability to, like I said, be heard, when they feel like they haven't been in the past.
Right. I've heard of also group therapy or grief therapy after someone passes away. Is that common?
Sure. So hospice provides bereavement services for 13 months after someone passes. I'll be real honest, Ted, we have many folks that, we continue to have relationships with, because it's not necessarily a matter of what is expected of us. It's more so, what can we do for these individuals? Because we are passionate about what we do, and we're passionate about caring.
Well, yeah, and you can certainly sense that from the way that you've described what you do and how you do it. Thanks so much for your insight. We appreciate it. Is there anything else, Sarah, that we didn't touch on that you want to share with us?
A few more things that are included in the hospice benefit would also be any supplies necessary for care, briefs, gloves, chucks, wipes, things that people are spending a tremendous amount of money, each month. We supply dietary supplements such as Ensure. It's a wonderful benefit. I know, again, there's a lot of myths that surround hospice, but it is, again, it's about enhancing quality of life. We are not to expedite the dying process by any means. As I said, research has proven that folks that utilize hospice, they generally live a longer life. So it's not probably as scary as most individuals think. I certainly encourage people to reach out to a hospice provider if your loved one is suffering from a terminal diagnosis. If they've stopped all sorts of treatment for that diagnosis, if there's multiple hospitalizations, falls, a lot of weight loss, I encourage people to dig in much sooner than they normally would, because most often I hear people say, I wish I would have done this sooner. They don't realize how much of a relief it is to have this extra help.
Great. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks again for your insight. If someone wants to get in touch with you, Sarah, what's the best way for them to do that?
Call our main line at 314-962-HOPE.
962 HOPE. And you've got a website as well. It's got some information on it. What is that?
We do. That would be hopehospicestl.com.
Thanks again for listening to the Senior Learning Institute educational moment. At the Senior Learning Institute, we thrive to provide straightforward and unbiased information, the information you need to make smart decisions the first time. Our goal is to connect older adults and their advocates to the resources they need in order to make the right decision the first time, from aging in place to hospice to selling the home in any condition, estate and financial planning, in-home care, estate sales, clean-out services, you name it, anywhere in the United States. To learn more, please visit us at theseniorlearninginstitute.com. Also, a shameless plug for freerealestateagent.com. That's where I connect home sellers to experienced real estate agents all over the country. It's a free service to you. This is one of the ways that I help keep the lights on. So check out freef.com or call me directly at 314-690-9922. Until next time, I'm Ted Gottlieb, certified senior advisor, seniors real estate specialist, and founder of the Senior Learning Institute.